me. So first thing we want to do before we do anything is we want to share this live with all our peoples, man. Make sure everybody gets this. Make sure everybody subscribed up. Make sure everybody already subscribed to our YouTube, already on our other channels. I'm gonna go ahead and share this with show y'all how easy it is, man. It's just real simple. You just go, okay, where my live at? Let me see my dude at. Okay. All right. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Okay. Then I just grab that and I just go ahead and write a little post. You know what I'm saying? Tap in with my partner, and voila, man. It's that simple, man. But today, what we're talking about, I just heard, man. I watch a lot of sports talks, man. So I watch what's it called? Speak for Yourself, man. It's the cat named Marcellus Wiley on there, man. And Marcellus Wiley, let's see. Okay. Marcellus Wiley talks about he was talking about he had read this book called Self Talk, and he only listens to his self talk. He doesn't really listen to what other people have to say about him or his opinion, right? So I was like, let me go grab this, man, because he's a pretty smart dude, and I went and grabbed it. And what I learned was that the conversations that I have with myself, the conversations that I have about myself, are more important than any conversations that I'll ever have with anybody, right? So me talking to myself and my self-talk has gotten me where I am today. And I started reading more and more about it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys real quick. I'm going to show you guys the book so that we're all engaged. I'm going to go ahead and pull it up. And it says, what you say when you talk to yourself. And let me share this with you guys real quick. I always like to share you guys, man. What's happening, Shalonda? I see you. Everything good? Let me see. Go ahead and share the screen with you guys real quick. Chrome tab. And this is the book. It's called What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. And let me show you guys. I always like to share a game with you guys, man. Really good book, What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. And what do you guys say what you talk to yourself? Man, that's the key right there. And one of the first things it did, and if you go to the Drug Dealers to Businessmen page, you can see I dropped a few little tidbits of information on based on this book. And what do we say about ourselves when we talk to ourselves, homie? Right? What are we saying to ourselves? And we don't realize the power in that conversation of I can do it. Man, I'm not good at this. I was just saying that about because I teach too. So I just got out of class. I taught for 2 classes straight. And my last class, I was about to say, because usually when I read out the names for the class, it's always like, hey, man, can you pronounce these names? I have a lot of Hispanics in my class, so I struggle with pronunciation sometimes. But I just said that to myself. I struggle with pronunciation sometimes. So I'm giving that power. And that's the self-talk I'm having with myself. I struggle with pronunciation. And I keep repeating it over and over again. Every year, every time I get ready to call these students, I say I struggle with pronunciation. So guess what I do? Struggle with pronunciation. And I caught myself this time. I said to myself, I said, nah, D, nah. I said, you ain't gonna do that. I said, no, you're not doing that. I said, no, we're not going that route. So what you're gonna say now is you speak this, right? You know what I'm saying? Or I can speak this, or I can say this. And once I changed my whole thought process on that, hold on, let me see something real quick. Making sure that you guys can hear me. Yeah, okay, perfect. Once I changed my thought process on that and I started saying, man, you know what? I'm a master these. I didn't miss one of them. And then it started reminding me of what I read in this book. And it talked about how we have this programming of I can't, right? I don't know how. I'm not good at this. Man, I ain't never done nothing like that. School ain't for me. We hear that all the time, right? The first thing we hear, school ain't for me. I'm not good at this. I've never done this before. I suck at this, man. I've never been into all these different conversations about what we can't do. And there's so much power in that conversation about that, right? About what we can do. And this book dissects that. It goes into detail about these different levels of conversation that we have. And the first level of self-talk is the lowest one, which is that doubt, right? Which is I can't, I'm not good at, I don't know how to, I've never been good at computers. I've never been a, I don't know how to speak a second one. I don't da 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 da. And we always say, man, I'm stupid, man. Look at this, idiot move. Or you know, you always know what's good, man. I see you, and you always know these things about you. Like how can you talk about yourself like that, man? Man, I'm look at my fat ass or whatever. We always talk negative, and we so descriptive with it, though, homie. We're not. It's just not regular talk. It's descriptive talk. It's like, let me be super descriptive, man. I'm a straight plum idiot. Damn, a plum idiot, homie. You couldn't just be a regular one. Like you got to be descriptive with that, and then we're not descriptive in a positive sense. We're not descriptive in saying, man, I'm brilliant, right? Not in an arrogant standpoint, not from like hubris, but man, look what I've survived. Sometimes you got to go back and look at your accomplishments, man. One of the things that Jay Prince talks about, he says, man, I have a book of answered prayers. There's so much power in that, a book of answered prayers, right? And when you think about that, so man, a book of answered prayers, that means stuff that went right with me, right? Because we're so focused on what went wrong. We detail that, man. I remember when I lost $100,000. I remember when I did. Are you keeping track of your victories? Right? We always keep track of our L's. We got those down to a science, right? We know what we're not good at. But what about what are we good at? When's the last time we done an inventory of what we are actually good at? And we haven't. That's where your confidence comes in. When you realize who you actually are, what you've accomplished, what you've overcome over your lifetime. That's your superpower. But a lot of times we're not detailed in that. We haven't been taught how to do an inventory in that sense, right? We heard so much shit being talked to us as kids. Like, oh man, you ain't no good. You're gonna be just like your pops. You're gonna be just like you punk ass cat. Oh, you woo 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 woo. You don't know how to do this. And I remember, man, vividly over and over again. Seemed like the 80s was filled with no's, homie. That's all our parents and nah, no, nah, nope, too expensive. Nah, nope, nah, you can't. That's all we heard. Like shit. That's why we ended up as in hustlers. We got tired of hearing that shit. All we kept hearing is no, you can, nah, we can't afford it. Nope. Nah. Damn. And that starts to build into your psyche. You like, man, so the answer is probably no. And you start to lose confidence. Whereas when you go, I'm going to tell you a story about Mark Zuckerberg's ass. Mark Zuckerberg, when he was in, I think it was going to college, his dad offered him two options. You either go to Harvard or you can run this McDonald's with your sister. Those were the two options, right? It wasn't, man, you're going to have to go out here and hustle, man. I don't know how me and mom's going to pay for it. You got two options, dog. McDonald's or Harvard. Those were the two options. So it's a different experience for us, right? Yes was a common thing for them. So imagine floating through school with a bunch of yeses, a bunch of you cans, a bunch of you're amazing. They called that fool the prince in his house. He was the prince. So when you have that confidence, right? When you go into the world, you go into a world believing there's nothing that you can't do because it's been spoken into you. That's why it's so important for us to learn the language now so that we can speak that life into our children. Because if we don't speak life into them right now, they're going to end up being like us, struggling with confidence. And true enough, we get it. We're confident now, but it took a long time for us to get here, homie. This wasn't easy to obtain. Right? Because we had to overcome a lot of no's, you can't, you're not shit, you shouldn't, you ain't the right one. We had to go through all that. Right? Whereas when we're going up competing against these cats who have been hearing, you're the prince, you're the greatest thing since sliced bread, you're amazing, you're a blessing to our life, you're da 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 da. This is who we're competing against. So it's imperative for us to figure out what language we need to internalize these things so that we can change our language on the outside. Because everything starts with programming. And one of the things I've heard over and over again is your programming as a youth or as a youngster affects you as an adult. But the thing about it, one of the most beautiful things about this computer that we have right here is that it's programmable, right? So we can program it with whatever language we want it to be programmed with. So even if we grew up with language from a negative standpoint that you can't, you're not shit, you're not that one, you're doubt. We can reprogram that, right? And it takes us to have a different set of parameters and tools and paradigms for us to be successful and be able to shift that mindset because it is a mindset. And I'm gonna just tell you what kind of self-talk I had, man. You don't look good, oh homie, you stupid. You shouldn't be here. This is what it's called imposter syndrome. If you guys are not familiar with imposter syndrome. And then also whenever I'm on this type of stuff, I'm like, you got to have a gimmick. I remember that Dave Chappelle, like, you got to have a gimmick in order to be successful on social media. You got to do something. You got to either have a bunch of gold. You got to be crazy. You got to have a grimy voice and giving out advice. I got to have all these tricks and shit. Right? That's not something that was authentic to me. So what I figured out was my niche was information. The more game I give you guys, the more books I can give you guys. Right? So that self-talk started going into doing an inventory of what I already knew. What am I good at? I'm good at motivation. But does motivation last long? Or what about giving the resources in order to keep that going? Then it's not a temporary thing. But what else are you good at, D? I'm trying to figure it out. Well, you're good at business. You started your own business, so you can teach them how to set up their own. Okay, and then you start to go through an inventory, right? So your conversation starts to change. You start to look at what you've overcome. Oh, you came from the pen. You built 2 businesses. Now you're a college professor. And you start to do these inventories over and over and over again so that you can kind of see what you have. And then your self-talk changes because now you're not relying upon what somebody else says, right? Because Don Miguel Ruiz talks about that, right? In the 4 agreements, right? 4 agreements are: don't take anything personal, always speak the impeccable word, always do your best, and don't make assumptions. And when he talks about that, always speak the impeccable word, is because you can speak things into existence or you can speak things out of existence, right? And when somebody compliments you, this is why compliments are subjective, right? It could be because they're feeling good. So say, for instance, you fly, funky, fresh. You just came, got you a fresh fit, fresh cut, lined up, smelling good, Dolce & Gabbana, whatever you got on. And somebody walks up to you, man, damn, you fly, homie. I just want to give you a compliment. And it's because they hit the lottery. You didn't know that, though. Right? They like, man, I want to be just like you when I grow up. You notice how cats who got stuff always complimentary. But you got the same stuff on, right? And the same cat just got his car towed, right? Walks past you, doesn't say shit. You got the same exact outfit on. You smell the same. You look the same. There's no difference in your flavor, your flow, no nothing. But what's the difference? What happened to him? That was it. And if we base our opinion on what happened to other people, we're going to be in a world of disappointment because we'll be floating just along with whatever happens in their lives. So that's why it's so important for us not to be dependent upon what somebody else thinks. We're dependent upon what somebody else thinks. We're at the mercy of them, right? Whether they think we look good or not, whether they feel like giving us some love or affection or not. You got to have that confidence in yourself that, man, whether you recognize game or not, homie, I'm still flavor. I'm still this, I'm still that. And that self-confidence a lot of times beats athleticism, beats opportunity. It's a confidence. It's just the ability to believe, because once you believe, other people start to fall suit as well, right? It's one of those things that it's a snowball. But if you don't have that confidence, you don't believe in yourself, how's somebody else going to believe in you? Right? So what kind of conversations, what kind of talk are you having with yourself? You saying you that person? And then are you doing the deliverables to back it up? That's the most important thing. You can't just talk that shit, homie. You got to be able to back it up too. You got to be able to back it up with examples, literature, what I've done, right? I can't talk about converting street skills into million if I'm not doing it my damn self, right? If I can't talk about a success story if I'm not finished yet. I ain't finished yet, but I'm a lot more successful based on where I was. I got a T number, homie, T50528, dog. Came home in 2003 on parole. Did all 3 years on parole, but learned the game. Now I'm teaching at a university. The same state of California is direct depositing me checks, homie. Tell me what God, man, he turned people around right in your face, dog. So state of California gave me a T number and also giving me checks, man. Soak that in and soak that up. Check that. That's possible. Why? Because I changed my mental way of thinking, period. Changed the way I'm thinking. Read a book called Live Your Dreams by Les Brown. Loved it. Changed my life. Fell on my back so I could look up, I can get up. Then I went on to Napoleon Hill, Zig Ziglar, Tony Robbins, you name it, Seth Godin. And one of the things that's the beauty of reading is that it's going to turn you on to other books. Good authors tell you about other good authors. And then the cycle continues. So that's how you change your trajectory in life. You got to talk that shit. You got to be able to know it. Hey, I know this stuff. Hey, I'm a professor. Hey, I can do this. Hey, I can write books. Now I'm a professor. I can write books. So that's the next thing that's coming. Right. And I could say it in the positive. I'm an author. Have you written a book yet? Nope. But I wrote blogs. So I'm an author. Not I'm trying to be that, because that's the next level of self-talk, man. I wish I was this. No, I don't wish it. You say what you are. I'm an author right now. Period. Hands down. I'm a podcaster too. I don't give a shit what anybody thinks. I know I got 50 some episodes or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I know I got that. So that makes me official. You got to have that self-talk. One of the things that I learned from Melvin Van Peebles, Mario Van Peebles' dad, is he said when he was making movies, nobody ever told him that he didn't know what he was doing. So he kept doing it, whether he was making mistakes or not. And that's the beauty in life, is that as long as you don't know that you're making mistakes, you're going to float through life beautifully, right? I don't know I'm making these mistakes, and I don't want to know, because if they're not hurting me, if I'm not doing anything wrong, they're not hurting me, then I'm going to learn. I'm going to figure it out on my own. But that self-talk is everything, and I'm learning that. You got to be able to have that powerful self-talk. I can do this. I got this. No problem. Man, I got this. And if I don't get it now, I'm going to get it. And if I don't get it then, I'm going to continue to get it after that. But you got to believe in yourself, because I've seen people, right, that were destined to lose in a situation, whether it be a fight or whatever the case. But because they had that confidence, because they believed, because they convinced themselves, they won. It wasn't a matter of physical ability, because everything starts in your mind, period. And that self-talk, what do you believe about yourself? Do you believe you're powerful? Do you believe that you can do it? You believe you can start a business? Do you believe you can start a multi-million-dollar business? Do you believe that you're a millionaire? Do you believe that you can possess these same things? One of the things that Jay Prince said, I always told everybody I was going to be a multi-millionaire. Not that I wanted to be. I was going to be a multi-millionaire. Powerful. Way different. I want to be. I am. Right? Two different things, right? I want to be is a wish, a dream. I wish. I am. Just hasn't got here yet. I'm a millionaire already. I live like one. Spend the majority of my days chilling, right? Because that's how I want to be set up. So when it comes, it's just a matter of, man, what took you so long? I was already planning and setting up for this. This is the thing what we have to do. We already have to see ourselves. My wife's going through a nursing program right now. You know what I'm talking about? Where we're going for celebration dinner once she graduates. She's talking about classes. I'm talking about where we're going to get and what we're going to order for the celebration dinner. That's how far I'm already over here. You talking about specifics. I'm already talking about completion. And you have to be that confident. You have to be able to speak that. What are we going to do once we're done? Where are we going to park it at? Where am I going to park this at? You could be in an apartment with no car. Man, where am I going to park the Bentley? Okay, so once I get over here, damn, they don't have enough space for that. And you're really trying to solve that problem now, way before it even, you feel what I'm saying? But you have that confidence that the universe is going to provide it to you, that God's going to give it to you. So you got to prepare yourself. One of my professors used to tell me when I was, he said, man, dress as if you already are successful. You better learn how to tie ties now, not when you need to, right? Learn how to dress up now, not when you have to. Learn how to do these things way beforehand. Dress as if you already are, right? Act as if you already are. I started having to treat my apartment like it was gold. Before I was just neglecting it because I didn't think I was ever going to get a house. But I realized real quick, you don't treat this thing that I'm giving you now like it's what you want. I'm not going to give you that other stuff. You don't treat this small thing now. You don't treat your bucket like it's the best thing in the world. I'm not giving you the Bentley. For what? For what? So if you don't talk as if you are now, you don't talk as if you're a millionaire now, you don't talk as if you're already what you want to be now, universe is like, well, shoot, man, we just going to keep everything the same. You ain't talking about nothing different. We're just going to keep everything exactly the same. Why would we change? You're not asking me for nothing else. And you got to watch what you say, I don't want. That's you still giving it power. I don't speak about anything I'm not expecting. Period. What am I talking about that for? Why would I give that power? Only thing I'm focusing on is what I'm after, what I'm going after. Right? And that changes. So it may, okay, well, this is what I'm after this time. But that's the only thing I'm talking about. You guys don't hear me talk. I rarely talk about negative stuff. I'm only for what? What is the point? I realize how powerful my voice is. I realize how powerful my words are. And if I put them together in the right way, I could deliver a song or a melody that sticks with you. That's why jingles are so powerful. That's why songs are so powerful, because they just sew the words together, because words are so powerful. And we don't watch our language. You talk about our kids. We talk about the old lady. This what you calling your girl, homie? The old lady? That's why she looks 100 years old, dog. You know what I'm saying? I don't call my wife the old lady, the ball and chain. Is that what you call her? The old no. You call your car the bucket? My car's the champion. Man, made it to Mexico and back. You know what I'm saying? These things you got to speak, man, because the universe and these things hear you, whether you believe it or not. Everything's a belief system, right? Talk about electricity. Ain't nobody seen no electricity, but they show us paying it because it works. You get electrocuted, you'll realize real quick how much power that has. But at the same time, so do your voices and words. That's why speeches and poems like the one that was delivered at the inauguration are so powerful, because they hit different parts of us, right? And make us jump, make us feel a certain type of way. So we got that power. And if we speak that into our existence, we talk about certain things that are important to us. Man, I'm going to get up tomorrow, man. I'm going to knock down pull-ups, period. I'm going to get up first thing in the morning. I'm going to set my stuff over here and I'm going to go do XYZ. Okay. And then after that, I'm going to do the XYZ. And after that, I'm going to do ABC. And you write it down and speak it and get to telling people. Next thing you know, you're held accountable. Next thing you know, you're doing it. I wrote down my goals and dreams. I told you guys, I showed you guys that. Showed you guys that game. Still got them, man. If you guys need poster board, still got it. But showing you how powerful that is. That's self-talk too. What are you getting ready to accomplish this year? What's on your list to do? What we doing? What we knocking down? Right? What are we going after confidently? Because everything has to be confidently. And I know there's things that could shatter our confidence on a day-to-day basis. I get it. And those are people, spouses, homies, parents, bosses. All these people talk that shit, right? And they don't mean anything by it. Don't take it personal, because they only giving you what they have, right? And a lot of times it's just, they may be on empty. So a lot of times you got to fill other people's cup up in order to get yours filled back up. One of the unfortunate parts about the game, homie, and leadership. But that's part of leadership. You got to fill other homies' cups up, dog. Whether you sitting there with a sip or not. It's just one of those things. We can never be selfish if God gives us the game. And he gives a lot of us the game, but we get to the point where we start listening to the enemy. And we figure out we got to package it this way. We got to do it this way. We got to do it this way. No, we don't. We just got to keep giving out game. We got to keep giving out resources, keep giving out book suggestions, keep giving out ways to get out of this situation that we currently in and on to the more positive. And God will continue to give it to us. He doesn't stop. I told you guys, he's the source of all sources, the plug of all plugs. He got it. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Got it. And he gives it to us. But we have to believe in him. He's one of the ones you got to have that talk to too. You got to believe, dog. I know I'm getting out of this. And if I don't, I know there's a lesson that has more importance, way more importance. And that's that talk, right? We used to have that talk when I was at the pen. I used to have that talk. You got it, D. 3 more months, 10 more months, whatever. All right, we're going to run around this track. And I used to run. I used to concentrate. It was my meditation. I used to run like 5 miles a day when I was in there. Thinned down, lost like 40, 50 pounds too. But that was my meditation constantly. And it helped because I would have these conversations about what I was going to do. And I would talk to myself, you got it, D. Just keep going, man. This ain't nothing. You can do this on your head. And you constantly keep talking to yourself, self-talk, self-talk, self-talk. And you watch your mouth. You don't call yourself fat. You don't call yourself stupid. You don't call yourself an idiot. You don't call yourself any of that. You call yourself a god, a king, a queen. What you haven't learned, what you don't know, you just haven't learned yet. Sit. But you don't take nothing away from yourself, and you damn sure don't talk down to yourself. You got to speak highly of yourself all the time, because nobody's going to speak higher of you than you. right? And if they do, it may be subjective, and you don't want to have to rely on somebody else's energy in order to determine yours. Yours should be up. How do you see yourself? Highly, not in an arrogant way, not from hubris, but I see myself as this powerful being, right? And I realize that my voice and words have power. You know what I'm saying? Period. And I know who I am and walk that walk. People should see your confidence and feel your aura when you come around. I heard that in college. One of my professors, one of the same ones, told me when you come through that hallway, there's an aura that's around you that exudes leadership, because I walk prison the same way. And prison's a little harder than a university campus. So you got to be able to have that confidence of who you are, no matter what the circumstance is, no matter where you're at. People should recognize. Les Brown tells that story about the slave, right? You guys heard that story where he talks about the slave? And one of the slave traders is like, hey, I want that slave, because he was strong and big and whatever. And he was like, oh, you can't have him. And the guy was like, why not? How much is he? He was like, well, the problem is he was a king in his land, and he doesn't believe he's a slave. So he doesn't act accordingly. So you can't buy him. And that was one of the things that stuck with me in terms of our belief in ourselves. You have to walk. You saw the way to do. He saw the way he walked. He was like, I want that one. Like, nah, dude doesn't believe he's a slave, period. He believes he's a king and he walks as such. And you should as well. You should know who you are, what you've been through, where you've come from, right? Because there are no stories, right? What did Jay-Z said? Nobody built like you. You design yourself, period. So when you think about that, you're the only one that's been through that particular journey. You can leave breadcrumbs for the homies, but they may have to deviate a little bit because everybody's journey is different, right? But you're the only one that's been through that journey, so you're the only one that can tell your story the way you need to tell it. So you need to shut out those other voices who are telling you that you ain't that, and only listen to that internal one that's inside of you, because that's the most important one. That's the one that's going to guide you, especially when you're dealing with cats that's cutthroat, you're dealing with shady cats. That's going to be one that guides you. It's going to also be the one that guides you towards opportunities, right? Is this who I am? I know a few people got into a few businesses because it was somebody else's suggestion, right? Started selling dope because they didn't want to sell dope. It was the homie suggestion, or the homie was the plug, but they weren't passionate about it. And this is usually when you get into something that you don't necessarily want to get into, right? 100%. So I've seen people get in there. Oh, that's how homie doing this, and I have nothing else to do. Well, that's because your self-talk wasn't strong enough. You didn't have enough of direction yourself in order to determine your own path. So anybody else's would do. And that's the thing about it, right? That's why you got to get your foundation together, right? Because the wind blows, and people blow in town, blow in your life, blowing out. And you don't want to be that type to kind of float to whatever they float with, right? You want to have your own foundational principles. You want to have your own thing going on. I don't rely on nobody. Try my best not to. Because once I start doing that, then I'm at the mercy of them, right? So yeah, real talk, man. Self-talk, man. We're going to cut it short today. We're going to stick to our half-an-hour segment. We've been going over about an hour beforehand, but I'm going to go ahead and tap out. I want to give you guys the resource, Self-Talk. Make sure you guys check out that book, and I'll be back next week with some more information. Stay tuned. The weekly tap in, tapping out.